Okay, we're going to talk about rage farming, but before I start, please bear with me. There's a 48-hour cold running through my family, and the sore throat is something special. Anyway, rage farming. So, since people like Alvin Bragg and Jack Smith have been finding evidence on Donald Trump and bringing him up on charges, the GOP has decided to try distracting any way they can and try to make things balanced by throwing a whole bunch of accusations at Joe Biden and Hunter. Things like the laptop, things like informants. But, of course, it needs clarification that Trump's administration, his FBI and his DOJ, had Hunter's laptop for almost a year while he was president. They found nothing. But yet people still think it's a magic silver bullet somewhere. Well, they've been bumping it up, and now we need to identify the things that they're spouting. So after Comer went on Fox News multiple times saying that they had informants, but they were missing, so that's convenient, and all the documents they supposedly had that supported their theories, but they couldn't show them to anyone and they couldn't produce them. And now they've been talking about an FD 1023, which is an FBI document which is giving a tip from a confidential source. They are unverified. This thing could also be called a hearsay document. And they keep spouting that it's this huge bombshell because, according to this document, also that Trump and his administration had for 11 months while he was still in office. So they're now going everywhere on Fox News and Newsmax, claiming that this unverified document from several years ago that Trump had in his administration for almost a year is now this huge bombshell showing that Biden accepted a $5 million bribe. There's no real way you could stretch Armstrong that any further, could you? And they claim that according to that document, there are tapes, recordings of Joe Biden accepting that bribe. So they've all been on right-wing media, carefully saying that there are allegedly tapes, or that we think there are tapes, and they're putting them out there so that their followers will believe that these tapes exist, even though they have not been produced, nobody has seen them, and nobody has heard them. However, they're adding another layer to this, because they have been admitting on TV that they are not sure if those tapes even exist, even though they've been telling people and spreading the seeds that they do exist. So what's the difference now? Chuck Grassley said he didn't care if the accusations are accurate or not. His job is to make sure the FBI are doing their job. Which, if the tapes don't exist, they still are. This is where they actually harvest the rage that they have cultivated for so long. Because this is the final cherry on top from Ron Johnson.
Senator, do you think they exist? And if yes, how to obtain them?
We don't know. And, Senator Grassley has never said they exist. He just said that there's an FBI report on a confidential human source, and that confidential human source says that the person they were talking to said that he taped. He recorded 17 times, 15 times with Hunter, twice with Joe Biden, but we don't know. But what Senator Grassley and I are asking questions is, what did the FBI do with that evidence?
Did you catch that? Why isn't the FBI doing its job? What did they do with this evidence? The evidence that you've all admitted you don't even know if it exists. So they took all this time spreading the seeds, telling everyone that there are tapes out there. There are tapes out. Well, there are allegedly tapes. Well, we think there might be tapes. Well, we don't know if they're out there, but why isn't the FBI doing anything about this evidence that may or may not exist? As I'm sure you figured out by now, the entire point is that when eventually it comes out that these tapes don't exist and they never did, those politicians can now go on Newsmax and just claim that the FBI has covered it up, in an attempt to further discredit the FBI and make it seem like all of their hypothetical shit that they came up with was accurate just because they couldn't find it. It's really pretty magical, but it works on the cult. You see, the cult works in this way where they have so much confirmation bias, they automatically believe that Trump is innocent and Biden is guilty of, absolutely fucking everything. So when they hear that there are audio tapes, potentially, maybe, somewhere, I don't know, audio tapes about Joe Biden taking a bribe, the cult buys it instantly. They don't need evidence, they don't need proof, they don't need anything. They just need the hint that something is there. And then months later, when they find out it's not there, instantly they believe that they were real the entire time and it was covered up. Because they started with the thought in their head that it was accurate from the beginning. They didn't question anything. This is what cult mentality does to people. You believe things that are lies, even when people tell you they are lies. Remember the Fox defamation lawsuit where Fox had to admit that they lied about voter fraud? The cult still believes in the voter fraud, even though Fox admitting to lying to them. So when this turns out to be yet another GOP nothing burger on Biden and those tapes do not exist, the narrative will instantly change to the FBI is in on it, the FBI is corrupt because they just covered it all up. And the GOP will attempt to use that in their attempt to defund the FBI and their investigations in the new session. Because if the crazy cult leader of your Republican Party is under investigation for several different felonies in several different states, the smart thing to do if you're innocent is to defund the investigators, right? Is that what innocent people do? Because the only thing the Republican Party has to do these days is placate the lowest common denominator. The people who have problems making coherent sentences online, let alone understand legal nuance. So anyway, I've rambled long enough and my throat hurts, but be aware of this in the future, because it's going to happen. They are just sowing seeds of doubt and distrust in the FBI so that once again, when the GOP has nothing, they can claim that their lack of evidence is actually proof. That's how fucking brain dead these people are.